So we have just one Mini X30 race to go, and it is the deciding one as far as the front row of the grid is concerned for the pre-final, and all of the pressure is on the man in pole position, Raoul Jeanjardin. If he stays at the front, he will line up for the pre-final tomorrow on pole position. It really is make or break for the young Spaniard, who will line up there on the front row of the grid. Alongside him, though, Rodrigo Seabra in the Oliver Rowland Motorsport kart will continue his fine form this weekend. He's had a lot of bad luck from the outside of the front row, but hopefully he can put that to bed in this last heat of the day. There's no pressure on him, so he can start to make some progress from the second position on the grid. Third place, Nicolas Garcia, the Spanish driver, will line up there on the inside of the second row. Beside him will be the British charged Jesse Phillips, Bambino title winner twice over in 2019 back in the UK, both in IAME and Coma. So he knows how to win titles. This weekend is his first chance to go for the battle in the Oliver Rowland Motorsport camp in Mini X30 in Europe. Ryan Bourguignon, the young man from Morocco, will line up in fifth position on the starting grid for Dan Holland Racing, and he is there on the inside of row 3. Daniel Sofronea will line up in sixth position on the starting grid as he continues his duel with ORM. Fourth row of the starting grid will see Bosco Arias line up on the inside of the fourth row. From seventh on the starting grid, alongside him will be the Finnish driver Alexander Dahlström, who's definitely getting the results he deserves now after the difficulties that he suffered in the start of the race. But Dahlström definitely looking a lot stronger in terms of his one-lap pace. Hopefully he'll be able to continue his fighting form. Fifth row of the grid for Luke Tal, the Dutchman for the Fusion Motorsport squad. And it's going to be an interesting one for him as he lines up alongside the very talented Swedish driver Melvin Kaluzdian, who did not have the greatest second heat on the Charles Leclerc chassis. No luck at all, and ended up retiring. So hopefully there's going to be a much stronger race for him as he goes off the fifth row. Row 6 of the grid will be Leonie Ella Martinez. The young lady driver will run in 11th position on the starting grid from the inside of row 6. She will be beside Zdeněk Babicek, the Czech driver who lines up 12th on the starting grid for this one, as he will hope to put the Paralin chassis as high up the order as possible. Seventh row of the grid will see the Portuguese driver Martin Marquez for the Paralin, running there in 13th position on the grid. Alongside him will be the French charge Victor Galmiche for Top Chrono Motorsport as they run there in 14th position. And then the final row of the starting grid will see Giovanni Tarragona line up in 15th on the grid, and he will be there in his Tony kart alongside the similar chassis of the French star Elio Gilter, who will be hoping to recover from his difficulties in qualifying and make up some progress in the heats. And well done to the drivers, trying to get some attention from parents and family back home, of course, who are watching along. Messrs. Galmiche and Gilter. They're obviously putting on a show wherever they are on the race circuit, but it's always good to see that they've got great support back home in France. And hopefully there will be plenty more opportunities for them this season to take some great performances home to them back home. So it's going to be an interesting one in Mini X30, the race that will decide who will join Sandro Perez on the front row of the starting grid. Incidentally, we are going to need Sandro Perez and Will McIntyre to join us on the start-finish line at 6 p.m. At the end of the final Senior X30 race so that they can attend a television interview. So Sandro Perez and Will McIntyre will need you on the start-finish line at 6 p.m. in order to have the television interview. Please don't disappear. So now we have a very tough race in the offing as Raoul Jeanjardin, a race winner already today, goes off pole position once again in the hope that he can make it 2 wins. If he does, then he will get to second on the starting grid for the pre-final. But the man alongside him, Rodrigo Seabra, has unfinished business this weekend. He wants to run towards the sharp end of the field where he deserves to be after timed qualifying. He's not had the luck to sustain the position up to the first corner, but if he gets the chance, he's going to be a very tough opponent for Raoul Jeanjardin at the front end of the field. That is for sure. So the drivers are getting themselves ready for the last Mini X30 race of the day. And obviously, after the final Senior X30 race of the day, which will end at about 5:30, we will need the pole position drivers for the pre-finals tomorrow to attend a television interview. I initially said it was 6 o'clock. It is, in fact, 5:30 that we will need the drivers to the start-finish line. So that'll be Sandra Perez-Sanchez in the Mini X30 and William McIntyre in the Junior X30, as it was yesterday. We're not entirely sure yet who is going to have the honour of pole position in Senior X30, but I'm sure we will find out in the concluding 2 heats later this evening. But the battle is definitely going to be intense in Mini X30 as the air temperature is at 13 degrees Celsius at this moment in time. And the drivers will want to give us one final song and dance in Mini X30 before we go into the evening session. And obviously they want to produce as good a result as humanly possible. It's not been easy, and it's been very tough indeed for the contenders to put on a bit of a show. We should see quite a few drivers towards the sharp end at the end of this one, as we've had some very talented youngsters in the Mini X30 this year. It really has been fairly sensational. So the battle is going to be incredibly intense for the drivers at the sharp end of the dais here at Valencia. But can Raul Janjardin take a second victory of the day and secure his place on the front row of the starting grid? He needs to, because he's got the likes of Alejandro Martinez to take over that position on the front row of the grid if he is unable to get the job done. So there's a lot of pressure on young Raul Janjardin's shoulders, but he knows how to do this at Spanish level. He is no new boy. He has been racing a couple of seasons now at this level, and he knows how to get the job done. So let's see how the competitors will go out for Mini X30 qualifying heat B versus D. The last race of the weekend before the pre-finals for the X30 Minis. And this is their last chance to set themselves up for a great pre-final. Here's the grid. Raul Janjardin and Rodrigo Seabra, Nicolas Garcia and Jesse Phillips, Ryan Bourguignon and Dan Sofranea, Bosco Arias and Alexander Dahlström, Luke Tal and Melvin Kaluzdian, from Leoniela Martinez and Zdenek Babicek, then Martin Marquez, Victor Galmiche, Giovanni Talajona and Elio Gilter. So as the contenders go around on their preliminary lap on the circuit, they have an out lap and then, of course, a formation lap where they warm up the tyres and brakes to the optimum temperature to get themselves dialed in for the race itself. And it's always a very tricky part of the event, this one, because obviously they have to make sure everything is working to perfection. They need to get a good start and get themselves into a good position and stay out of trouble in the opening corner. So far, it's been absolutely fine and dandy in terms of the starts so far. And the drivers obviously all know that there's a lot of pressure riding on this race. And in terms of the drivers that are in this one who want to finish off on a high, we've got the likes of Raul Janjardin, who wants to get on the front row of the starting grid for the pre-final. We also have the likes of Dan Sofranea, Luke Tal and Jesse Phillips, who are all currently sitting in the top 8 on aggregate. They will want to finish strong and end their race weekends prior to the pre-final with a strong qualifying position for the pre-final. The better their grid position, the more chance they'll have of taking home a trophy at the end of an astonishing weekend. So the drivers continue on their way through. It's definitely going to be an entertaining race, this one, that's for sure, because we've got several drivers who mean business in this final race of the day and want to finish strong. So whilst it's been overcast all day, I think we've just about got away with it in terms of the weather conditions. The air temperature is still at 13 degrees Celsius. Track is dry. So the Mini X30 drivers should have a fairly decent run to the end of the race. And it really will be a pretty astonishing excitement. So let's see how the contenders are going to work here in this one. And it will be a tight race. Janjardin and Seabra, Garcia and Phillips, Bourguignon and Sofranea, from Arias, Dahlström, Tal, Kaluzdian, Leoniela Martinez, Zdenek Babicek, and then Marquez, Galmiche, Tarazona and Gilter. So let's see how it all goes. It will be difficult, but the drivers know what's at stake. The last race of the day, and it's a green light. No problem at all. Up to the first corner. Seabra trying to draw level with Raul Jean and hold it round the outside. Garcia is there to the outside line as well to tuck in for the inside, and Seabra gets a reasonable start as 2 or 3 carts run wide. Sofronea going off the road. So too does the 946. So not a perfect start then for Melvin Kaluzdian. But Sofronea and Kaluzdian run off the circuit there briefly. But at the front of the field, it's Raul Jean from Garcia, Seabra, and that looks to me like Bourguignon has come through into 4th position in front of Jesse Phillips. So the top 5 all relatively spaced out, and up the inside already. Phillips is getting the move for 4th position as he takes on Bourguignon and gets up into P4 there. Nice move from Jesse Phillips as he now tucks up behind the leading trio. So on to the back straight, and it's already getting pretty spicy between Raul Jean and Nicolas Garcia. Garcia wants to go for it. Rodriguez Seabra is right there for the picking as well in 3rd position. He'll want to try and go for a move to get up into the front end of the field. As Seabra has been dangerously close to it all weekend, and in the first 2 races he had absolutely no luck at all. This time he may finally get the luck he's after. So Seabra has a go underneath Garcia and Jean, but Jean is a race winner already today. He leads the race from Garcia and Seabra. So Raul Jean and Nicolas Garcia running in 1st and 2nd. Seabra running in P3 ahead of Phillips, Bourguignon and Luke Tal, who has got a good start up into 6th place ahead of Dahlstrom, Arias, Marquez and Galmiche. Another good start from Victor Galmiche, actually. 10th position for the Frenchman. So down to the braking zone into the hairpin, and so far so good as Seabra and Phillips have a chance to work together here in 3rd and 4th. They might even get an opportunity to work with the 2 guys up front and work their way past them. So Jean, Garcia, Seabra, Phillips, Bourguignon and Luke Tal. A good opening couple of laps here as the X30 Mini drivers get on with it. Phillips is having a look on the inside of his teammate and gets through into 3rd position. A good run from Jesse Phillips into P3, past Seabra. Now the 2 Oliver Rowland Motorsport drivers will be under pressure from Ryan Bourguignon. So Ryan Bourguignon has a good opportunity here, the young man from Morocco. And he'll want to push his way a little bit further forward than this. Garcia is going to challenge Raul Jean. Jean is under pressure, of course. He can't afford to lose 1st position. He wants to get on the front row of the starting grid for the pre-final. And in order to do that, he can't afford to lose too many places. He needs to stay in front if he can. Phillips and Seabra running together for the ORM squad. 3rd and 4th. 5th place for Bourguignon. Luke Tal in 6th place. Then Bosco Arias from Alexander Dahlstrom. 9th is Martin Marquez. A good run from him so far. And Victor Galmiche is in there as well. And that's Luke Tal taking on Ryan Bourguignon. And he's going to get the undercut. Nice switchback move from Luke Tal as he gets into 5th place past Ryan Bourguignon. So Luke Tal into P5. Good overtake there from the Fusion Motorsport youngster. Jean and Garcia very close together as they come into the final chicane. Phillips and Seabra working as a team in 3rd and 4th place. Down the home stretch. 3 laps done, 4 to go. Raul Jean with the fastest lap of the race at the moment. As Phillips and Seabra are trying to close up on the 2 leaders. It's a long race though. There's still 4 laps to go. So there's still plenty of opportunities for these young guns to make progress. As Luke Tal gets it slightly sideways in his bid to keep in front of Bourguignon and Bosco Arias. And that loses him a tiniest bit of momentum, but he manages to collect it quite nicely. So Luke Tal still challenging in 5th position to close up on Phillips and Seabra. But Raul Jean leads the way here in front of Nicolas Garcia. So Garcia looking for an opportunity on Raul Jean. Jean is still holding pressure, but for Nicolas Garcia, he can afford to take a little bit of time here because we're only on lap 4 of 7. And as I've said before, it's a long race. So he just wants to edge clear of the 2 carts behind. Seabra under pressure now from Luke Tal. Luke Tal looks like he's going to try and make his bid on Rodrigo Seabra. Seabra getting a little bit closer again to his teammate as they come off the turn. But Luke Tal wants to go for the move on Rodrigo Seabra. He has a look at it with a new fastest lap. And Luke Tal is going to get up the inside. Into P4 goes Luke Tal. That's a nice overtaking maneuver into 4th position for the young Fusion Motorsport Dutchman. Maybe he is the new Flying Dutchman at the squad. A 104.296 certainly gives us a bit of indication that he's going to be flying around the circuit this year. But still, no change between Jean and Garcia. Raul Jean wants a quiet race. He doesn't want a big challenge from Nicolas Garcia. He just wants to bring it home in one piece. He certainly doesn't want any mentality. He doesn't want any pressure. Just wants to keep it going. Seabra all over the back of Luke Tal to try and get back into 4th position, with the likes of Ryan Bourguignon and Bosco Arias trying to give him the pressure to make a mistake. But Seabra going well here in 5th position, tucked up behind Luke Tal. Nicolas Garcia getting close again to Jean-Jardin. We're running out of time, coming towards the end of lap 5. And I would have expected that this is the next lap for Nicolas Garcia to make the overtaking move. 2 to go. So Garcia will want to catch Jean-Jardin unawares as Seabra continues to run in behind Luke Tal. But Tal is looking good here in 4th position. Wants to finish in 6th place in the aggregate standings. And looks like he's going to if he remains in 4th place. So it's all about Jean-Jardin and Garcia on the final laps of this race. Lap 6 of 7. Can Nicolas Garcia get close enough to Raul Jean-Jardin to snatch a brilliant victory off him? Garcia is definitely giving it everything down to the short stretch. This might be the opportunity he's looking for. He's not close enough as far as he's concerned. Seabra on the inside of Luke Tal and boxes him in so that now he's got pressure from Bosco Arias and Ryan Bourguignon. Bourguignon gets up the inside. Arias drives around the outside of Bourguignon. Good move there from Bosco Arias. So Arias manages to grab 6th position. Good bit of driving. Garcia is going to try. Close in behind Jean-Jardin. Can't quite get close enough. Jesse Phillips is dangerously close to both of them as they go into the final lap. And we've got Seabra, Tal, Arias and Bourguignon all battling away together. Tal is going to try again on the inside of Seabra. He gets through. Bosco Arias keeps his cart firmly planted on the inside and he gets there as well. But what about the leaders, Jean-Jardin and Garcia? If they start to batter together, Jesse Phillips has got a chance. He's in 3rd place. A good run so far from the 3 men in the lead of the race. But Garcia will want to snatch a victory off Raul Jean-Jardin. He won't want to settle for 2nd place, and he's only got half the lap left to do. But he's got good pace. Jean-Jardin defensive, trying to second guess where Garcia is going to plant the cart. He protects. Phillips is getting closer to both of them. Down the back straight they will go, off the right-hander. And this is going to need to be a bold lunge from Garcia. Jean-Jardin protects. Garcia is swarming around. Phillips is going to have a slightly faster line to the corner if these two continue to defend. Phillips is going to bolt in on the far side. Garcia still trying to get one over on Jean-Jardin. Phillips has got a faster line. They're going to go to the line. And it's so close. But Jean-Jardin has it. Jean-Jardin has it from Garcia and Phillips. Great racing. Absolutely immense performances from the 3 drivers up front. They kept it clean, no nonsense, and incredibly close. Excellent racing from the top 3. Jean-Jardin, Garcia and Phillips put on a show there. And that is going to secure a front row start for Raul Jean-Jardin, his 2nd win of the weekend. And that will put him on the front row of the grid beside Sandro Perez Sanchez. So Raul Jean-Jardin Perez for Monlau Competición is going to grab 2nd on the starting grid for the pre-final. Fabulous performance and a great display.